Hi, welcome and welcome back. Thank you for being here. I'm just so happy that you decided to take a moment and share some time and space with me. I hope that wherever you are feeling healthy and that you have the ability to feel at ease in any dimension, whether it's ease in your body or ease in your breathing or ease in the space that you are in. Oh, today has been a lot, and I wanted to start with a short practice if you want to add it to your toolbox, and it'll take us into today's topic as well. So, one of the questions on my playlist, one of the prompts to check in with myself is the question, where is the love? And it does remind me of a song, so that's how it came to be worded that way. But when I have a chance and I pause and I tune in, I ask myself, where can I experience love? Where did I see love? Where is there love? And so if I tune in right now, breathing is love. The silence that I'm in is love so that I can record this. Having a roof over my head is love. Being listened to throughout today is love. Having food to eat and food that was prepared is love. A loved one sending me a song they like is love. A loved one sending me a song that reminds them of me is love. So that's one of the prompts I have for myself as I go throughout the day. So, in the case this is something that you can add, please feel free to use it as you are creating your toolbox or your playlist or however you want to call it. And I want to talk about love. I will say that before July, talking about love in front of people, a lot of people has been frightening. That level of vulnerability has really only been reserved for people I really trust. And that is a very low number. But you who are watching may be one of them. Thanks for following. So I was thinking about my blueprint. And I was thinking about how I was talking about, you know, the idea of having versus being. And it's a it's a good direction to sort of move in because having isn't something that I value so much, especially like the things that I should have or versus the things that I do have, right? Um, and I like the idea of a to be list in addition to a to do list. How do I want to be? I will ask people when maybe they're unsure of a situation or they're upset. And sometimes question that I ask is, who do you want to be? Who do you want to show up as? And they're like, oh crap. Like, well, I don't want to be how I have shown up. So then, they have to think about it. But I'm wondering if to go even a layer deeper and to be more authentic and more aligned with me, I wonder if my soul blueprint needs to be based on how I can be love. So, not to have, not to be, but to love. So, I'm sitting with this and I am wondering, you know, what are the things that I do that make me feel loved? What are the things that I do that make others feel loved? How do I embody the energy of love? So I want to go back through my blueprint and see if I can do this iteration, this version of my blueprint. And I was reading a little while ago. I'm reading the second book in the trilogy series. This book is called A Well Tempered Heart, and it follows the art of hearing heartbeats, a novel, all novels. And it was one of my favorite books ever since I read it. Can't remember when, but it was around the time that I had met a friend, which might have been around 2008, 2009. And she had introduced the book to me. So it could have been, anywhere from 2008 to 2012. Anyhow, I gifted the book to whoever I thought might be open to it. And I somehow lost my copy. And I was looking on the reading device that I have. And I noticed that there was a copy. And I was like, oh, I'm so excited. And I was still sick. So I started reading and I was like, can't sleep. I was way too excited, even when I stopped and gave myself some time. But then I was wanting to share this book with my mom. I looked online to see if there's a Vietnamese translation. So if anyone knows if there is one, please let me know. I could not figure that out. But in the process of researching that, I discovered the other two books that followed. And so I started it yesterday when I picked it up from my local branch. Thank you, libraries. You are amazing. And today I was reading, and in this second book, the main character um, returns to her father's homeland, where she has a half brother who we met in the first book, or who she met in the first book. So in the second book, she returns to the country, to the homeland, and is reunited with her half brother. And her half brother's trying to, just he's so excited. And he's asking her how she's doing. And he's sort of using the language that he usually does, or, how he felt like asking. And then she didn't know how to respond and he caught himself. And then he said, I just meant to find out like how you are faring, whether you are happy, whether you are loved. And so after reading that, I paused and I was like, I would actually really be happy and excited if that was a part of my greetings, or the way that I check in with someone, whether it's the next day or if it's been a year since I've seen them. And so I was trying to formulate a question that someone might be able to answer without feeling really bad, because I know that love is this very elusive concept and a lot of people don't talk about it, which I think makes it even harder to experience. But I was trying to think of different iterations. Um, and in one of my previous videos, I think I had asked how how are you in Vietnamese colloquial language. Whoever you're talking to, you you win. You win có khỏe không? Like, are you are you healthy? Do you have health? So I'm wondering, like, can I phrase this question? Like, do you have love? Have you felt love today? Have you experienced love today? How have you witnessed love? And I was just like, it's there and I'm going to keep playing around and exploring it. But in other moments this year, I've wondered, how can I integrate love into my language, right? And I was having a conversation with a friend earlier. She had gone to visit another country and she really appreciated the language and the lingo that they used because it was so warm and it was colorful, it was descriptive, right? And I often think about a friend who we had a rule for a while. When we asked each other, "How are you?" you can't say, "Okay, tired," or "busy." Like it's not descriptive. And I am one of those people who, when I ask, "How are you?" I want to know. Like I want to know what's going on. And I know that there's not always like space and the capacity, depending on, how people are or where they are or what they're in the middle of doing. But I'm one of those people who really cares to know. But I don't know if it's always descriptive or people always have the capacity to answer. I will tell you in 2025, I have not had the capacity to answer the question, "How are you?" It feels very difficult to answer in the middle of all of these policy changes and laws and norms and things that are shifting, um, and not really being able to see what the impact will have in the next weeks or months or days, even. And so, in some of the research I've done with people who teach about grief and who have explored grief, that question is a really hard question. How are you? And so sometimes it's even, scaling back to ask, like, how did you sleep? Are you sleeping? Did you eat? Right? That's actually a really important question to ask for someone who's in the middle of grieving because it's something they can answer and it kind of is an indication for you, the person who's receiving it, like where they're at, right? And so I'm thinking about that, but I'm also thinking about how much I value love and how I want to be somebody who embodies love. And even though it's been frightening and scary, because as I've learned and explored love in the last 5 years, it hasn't always been present. And it's something that I lock away because it doesn't feel safe to share with everyone. And I'm hoping that as, I'm coming into and I'm rooting down into hot girl era and this new stage, this new timeline, this new whatever we can use to describe it, I want to embody that more. And so I'm thinking about language. I'm thinking about lingo. I'm thinking about, even I think I read in a book, I can't remember what book it was, but how people will say like, "Oh my gosh," or "Oh my something," right? And so somebody in this book said, "Oh my love." And I was like, "Oh, I sure really like that." It's just hard to like remember it. Um, and even, as I'm navigating and exploring and as heart centered is unfolding, I wonder even how I can integrate heart into my language, right? Sometimes I will ask what's at the root of this issue, what's at the root of this belief, and being able to shift and change it to what's at the heart of this concern, what's at the heart of, me crying right now. And so, even something like that to me feels like alignment and helps me feel like I'm being my truest self and that I am embodying what I believe in and what I'm capable of, even if I'm still reaching to become more consistent or more well practiced. So I'm thinking of how can I integrate love and heart into my interactions, into the words I speak, into the ideas I think, into the interactions I have with someone, because a lot of the times something like gratitude. where I've spoken of like I can intellectualize it. I can create long lists of things that I'm grateful for, but it's happening on an intellectual level and it's not embodied. I can't always feel gratitude. And I would really like to be able to practice and be and choose so that love becomes me or that I become love. And so if you have any ideas, I would be very open to hearing them. I, still even playing around with that question like, is it okay for me to ask, like, have you felt love today? Or like, what was something loving you experienced today? That would be an indication to me of how somebody's doing. Um, but, right, like, I also must do the work to discern, like, who and how to repair if somebody's not open to receiving it. And usually it's like, I don't know if I can answer that win, or like, there you go, win with another deep question. Good thing I learned about life coaching, right? You can sort of see, like, I have these questions, and it's not just clients that I ask these questions of. I am asking these questions of myself. I am asking these questions of my close friends who I'm checking in with, like, how's your heart? How's your mind? How's your body? How's your soul? Like I'm asking that to people if they're open to engaging me with this. And so it's really who I am. Um, but it's, trying to figure out what it means to be a coach in modern day society and what does it mean with this blueprint and, how can I adopt what's authentic to me so that I can be very clear about what I'm offering. I do really enjoy having one on one conversations, and people naturally come to me and talk to me and share things and often scratch their head and wonder why they told me so much. And so I don't know if you can tell just from, these videos that I'm sharing. I don't know if you can feel my heart. I don't know if you can feel the care or the gentleness, but I'm being able to share and speak my truth is very liberating because I often ask myself, what's the point of sharing? Especially in relationships and something that I'm unlearning, something that I'm trying to shift and change. I want to be someone who embodies love. I want to be someone who you remember as love. Also, side note, also want to be known as someone who always has a song to sing or dance to. I thought about this. But yes, I want people to have felt loved in my interactions and our relationships. And so I keep exploring and trying different things out. And if you have any ideas, again, feel free to share. So for now, I'll go ahead and stop. I hope, I really hope that you know, or that you will soon believe, that who you are, who you truly are at your core, at your essence, is worthy and deserving of unconditional love. I'm so lucky to have crossed paths with you here. I am excited for connecting next time. But until then, please take good care. Okay, bye bye.